Welcome to another installment of What Would Lisa Say? I'm Lisa Mabli, and I'm here to answer all of your questions that are Scrum and Agile related. So today we're going to talk about the definition of ready. We talked recently about the definition of done and how that relates to estimates, and now we're going to talk about the definition of ready and how that relates to estimates. A lot of teams have a definition of done that works very well, and there's probably no reason to change that. What a lot of teams don't have, though, is a good definition of ready. And what does that mean exactly? Well, to me, it means that the thing is ready enough to go into an estimation session and get an estimate in under 5 minutes. I know that's shocking. I know for some of you who have been out there swirling around and trying to get an estimate on a story after an hour, I can tell you that story was not ready to be brought in front of a dev team. POs, this is your responsibility to make sure that you have good enough requirements and a good enough idea of what the outcome of this thing is, and that the story is broken down in small enough chunks and written clearly enough that you can present it to a Scrum team and they understand it well enough to understand how they're going to implement it to be able to give you an estimate in under 5 minutes. If that's not happening, think about your definition of ready and what that means for the Scrum team. If you have no idea, start with something simple like small stories, clear requirements. If you use gherkins, have that be part of your definition of ready. Another talk on gherkins later. And if you really have no idea where to start, which is often the case, you can simply start with, if we can't give you an estimate in 5 minutes or less, then the story is not ready. So you can work towards it just by starting there. So definition of ready means that it is ready for a dev team to give an estimate on it. And that means it needs to be small and it needs to be clear. And as a product person, you need to know exactly what you expect to come out of that story when dev is done with it. Dev teams are not psychic. They can't guess, and you don't want people guessing. You want to come in there with a clear vision of the outcome for this story, and you want it to be clearly articulated and clearly broken down into nice small pieces that are easy to estimate. So definition of ready, just as important as the definition of done. And if your team doesn't have both of those things in place, that's a great first step before you try anything else in order to bring your planning sessions to a very effective level and to get your estimation sessions going nice and smoothly and nice and efficiently.